Greetings and welcome back to another Toddy Walnuts overview video. Today is Sunday night. It's very cold outside. I'm with the beautiful ladies, Miss Heidi on the left, Hannah on the right. And we're gonna go through today and do a deep dive on these Giallo sets. So here on the very left, we have the Arrow video box sets of Giallo Essentials. Here in the middle, we have the Vinegar Syndrome Forgotten Gialli, 7 volumes. And I wanted to add the Danza Macabra set from Severin. And these are Italian and Spanish Gothic horror films. They're very similar to the Giallo films, so I wanted to kind of include that as part of this overview. So get yourselves relaxed, get a beverage, get a snack, and let's start with the Arrow video box sets. So to date, there are 5 total box sets from Arrow Video that feature Giallo movies, and they call this line the Giallo Essentials. And we're going to go through each box, but we're just going to quickly go through and do an overview of what they look like, and then we'll do the deep dive here in a minute. And the first one here is the Giallo Essentials red box, which contains the movies Possessed, The Fifth Chord, and The Pajama Girl Case. And volume 2, or they're really not numbered, so it's not volume 1, 2, but this is the order that they came out in. So Giallo, the yellow box, which includes What Have They Done to Your Daughter's Torso and Stripped Nude for Your Killer. Then there was the black edition. And in this set, you get Smile Before Death. You get the weapon, the hour, the motive, and the killer reserved 9 seats. And then came out the white box. And included in this box are the Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave, the Iguana with the Tongue of Fire, and the Suspicious Death of a Minor. And finally, the blue box, which I still haven't opened yet, but we will today. And we're going to go through and check this out. This one includes the forbidden photos of a lady above suspicion. And it also comes with the Death Walks movies. You get Death Walks on High Heels and Death Walks at Midnight. We're going to go through, we're going to pop these out, take a look inside the box, talk a little bit about the movies and the special features. And then once the Arrow video collection is done, we'll jump into the Vinegar Syndrome stuff. So the first set here, the red set, comes with a slipcover. Now you have to be careful if you order these, if you're not familiar with these box sets. They did release a standard edition after they released these kind of, I guess, deluxe box sets, the ones that come with a slipcover. Some of them were released as a standard release that didn't come with a slipcover, so just make sure that you are aware of that, and if that's something that would sway your decision to buy something like this. If you're talking to an eBay seller, just ask them if it's the one with the slipcover, if that matters to you. It does to me, but maybe not everybody is like that. And you notice too, if you go on eBay or some of the secondary markets, they have a stock photo of just the box. So it doesn't show any actual footage or videos or photos rather of the item that you're bidding on. So it always pays to ask questions, or you may get the wrong edition. And inside of that slipcover comes this hard outer shell box. Really beautiful stuff. You got all the bonus materials here and the discs. We'll go through that. got some info here on the back. This set is Region A. I'm sorry, no, that's not correct. I think it doesn't say. Let me see on the back of 5th chord. See, I have a region-free player, so that doesn't really matter to me, so I never pay attention to the region, but I just try to pass that info along to you in case that is a decision that you make on whether you want to buy this or not, depending on the region. The first movie here is called The Pajama Girl Case, starring Ray Milland. And there's the disc art. And there's a reversible cover in Italian. And there's your synopsis of the movie. It says, throughout the late 1960s and into the 70s, the Italian Giallo movement transported viewers to the far corners of the globe, from swinging San Francisco to the Soviet-occupied Prague. Only one, however, brought the genre's unique brand of bloody mayhem as far as Australia. Director Flavio Magarini, tragic and poetic, The Pajama Girl Case. The body of a young woman is found on the beach, shot in the head, burned to hide her identity, and dressed in a distinctive yellow pajamas. Sydney police are stumped, and you have to watch the rest to find out what happens, but there are the bonus materials there. If you want to pause that and read it, yeah, there's interviews, subtitles. There's a commentary by Troy Haworth, who did the book So Deadly, So Perverse, 50 Years of Italian Giallo Films. And I was looking for a year for this movie, but I'm not seeing it. I'm thinking this was early 70s. That is The Pajama Girl Case. The next one is The Fifth Chord, starring Franco Nero, who was the original Django. In this particular box set, this was my favorite movie of the three. This is actually a very, very good movie. Franco Nero plays a detective who is chasing a serial killer. He's always just right on the heels of him, but him or her, you know, in these Giallo movies, they do try to give you a red herring or two as you're watching the movie to kind of try to throw you off as you're trying to follow the trail of breadcrumbs and try to pick up as many clues as you can as you're watching the movie. And sometimes you think you got the killer, and then they veer you off one way or another, and then they play with your emotions that way. It's very good. I love these kind of movies. And Franco Nero was brilliant in this movie. He really was. He was a great actor. And I would recommend this one if you haven't seen it. Here are your special edition contents here if you want to pause that and read it. Take a look at the reverse cover. Beautiful painted cover. I would definitely recommend this if you haven't seen it. Check out The Fifth Chord. The next one and the last one for the first box set is The Possessed. And this one was also co-directed by the same director who did The Fifth Chord that we just saw. This one comes with the little art card advertising the werewolf. Speaking of werewolf, did you guys see the new trailer for the werewolf movie that's coming out? It looks phenomenal. I can't wait till that comes on physical media, but that's a pretty cool advert right there. It's really, really nice. And then they're promoting their online stuff. There's the disc, which is exactly the same as the front cover. And there's a reversible Italian painted cover. And you got quite a few bonus materials again right down here. The Possessed is a wonderful atmospheric proto-giallo based on one of Italy's most notorious crimes, the Alleghi killings, and adapted from the book on the case by the acclaimed literary figure Giovanni Commisso. Hey, I'm writing a book over here. It's all right, I can do that. I can talk about Italians because I am part Italian. So, but yeah, I would really recommend this series and this set, and I'm hoping that they continue these box sets. But that is the end of the red box set, and yeah, we'll pause it here and move on to the next one. So I can go a little bit quicker going forward now because we know that they all have the same type of a slip cover, and they have the same outer shell. So we won't have to spend as much time on that, so we can get into the movies a little quicker. So the first one here is called What Have They Done to Your Daughters? Massimo Dallamano. And they used to put the years on the back of these, and I wish they would. It looks like 1974. I wish they would do that again, the way that Vinegar Syndrome does that. And there's the disc art on Blu-ray, and then there is the reversible Italian original poster. It says in 1972, director Massimo Dallamano broke new ground in the giallo genre with the harrowing What Have They Done to Solange, which is another great movie. 2 years later, 1974, he followed up with an even darker semi-sequel, the chilling What Have They Done to Your Daughters? A teenage girl is found hanging from the rafters of a privately rented attic, pregnant and violated. Hot-headed Inspector Silvestri and rookie Assistant District Attorney Vittoria Story are assigned to the case. You have to tune in and check out the cops that are chasing the serial killer around town, killing young ladies. The next one is called Strip Nude for Your Killer. Andrea Bianchi movie. Edwidge Fenwick stars in this movie. She was always a really beautiful woman. This movie came out in 1975. There are the bonus materials. Disc and reversible Italian poster art. And the third one is probably my favorite one in this box set. This is Torso, Sergio Martino. This one came out in 1973. There are your bonus materials if you'd like to pause that and check it out. Pretty interesting reversible cover. Kind of plain, but I think it's effective. I like the way it looks. So that is your little 3-pack bundle for Giallo Essentials yellow box. The next one here is the black box. And beautiful artwork there on the outer shell. That right there is an image from the killer reserved 9 seats. And the first one here is called Smile Before Death. And this one comes with a little booklet and an art card. Pull these out without messing it up. The Grand Racket. Take a look at the booklet. Thick pages, glossy, has a nice varnish on it. Get the cast and crew. You get some still photos and some write-ups about the film. Really nice edition. I really love these box sets, and I would definitely recommend them. It's not really a gripe, but, and I know Arrow Video has been around for a while now, and they've been releasing movies for years. But a lot of these box sets that I'm showing you already had previous releases of these movies through Arrow Video. So by the time they released these box sets, these were going to be a double dip for somebody. Now, myself, personally, I don't mind double dipping, especially if I like the movie or the genre, like slashers, stuff like that. But I think, and I'm hoping that as they move forward from here, that they will keep the Giallo movies exclusively to these box sets, if that makes sense. So in other words, if they come out with another, maybe they're going to come out with the purple box next. And the 3 movies that they have in the purple box should only be limited to that box set, not a single release. Or if they do, release it singly later, like down the road after we already bought these box sets. You know what I mean? That's not really a gripe, though. It's just, it's marketing, but Arrow didn't realize that they were gonna, I'm sure they didn't even think about releasing box sets like this until later in the game, after they had already released some movies. And I think that's what I like a lot about Vinegar Syndrome is most of those movies that they released in their Giallo sets, the Forgotten Gialli, are very obscure, very unknown movies. A lot of them I've never heard of before. And I like to think of myself as a horror fan, and I've been, I would say study it. I'm always kind of reading up on different things and different editions of movies, and I've been watching movies my whole life, so I'm a big fan of these kind of movies like this. And this one also comes with a booklet, but there's the disc, and there's the Killer Reserve 9 seats again. And I'm really hoping that Arrow and Vinegar Syndrome, and Severin for that matter, I hope they keep continuing to release these box sets of unknown, obscure movies. Stuff that hasn't been released already. Really beautiful edition. Yeah, this is really, really nice. Reserve 9 seats. This is a good movie too. This one was kind of rare. For a while, I only had this on Blu-ray through a German release. I still have it. It's a really beautiful, very high quality release. But this didn't have an official release in the US. I don't believe, as far as I know. I think it had a VHS release, but never a DVD or a Blu-ray release until now Arrow released this. Technically, this is a UK edition, but I'm really glad that they did release this one. Though typically associated with modern urban environs, not all Giallo films were international jet setters. The genre played host to a diverse array of locations, while a handful even embraced the creative opportunities afforded by confining their scenes of unbridled sadism to a single building. I'll have to say that, even back in the 60s and 70s, these were very obscure movies. They're becoming more and more known now because of companies like Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome, Severin. But back in the 70s, not your average person knew about these kind of movies. Let me see if I can find a year, 1974, for The Killer Reserved 9 Seats. And the next one here is called The Weapon, the Hour, the Motive. Haven't watched this one yet. Came out in 1972. Got a little bit of bonus materials. Hey, anything's better than nothing, especially for these rare, obscure titles. I'm pretty sure most of the actors and directors and, you know, set people are probably all passed by now. There's probably very few, if any, actors left to do any commentary now. So throughout the Giallo boom of the early 70s, some filmmakers adopted a more measured approach to their subject matter, emphasizing plotting and character, while others embraced the newly permissive climate of the times to reveal an unadulterated violence and the sins of the flesh. There's the disc art. There's the reverse. And another book. We'll just kind of flip through a couple pages. You guys know what these books look like, so it's not like I'm showing you anything new, but very, very nice to have these booklets. I think those are great additions to these kind of collections like this. I was talking too much. I don't remember if I showed this one. I think I did. If I did already show it, I apologize. I was talking and I forgot which one I started with, but this is a movie that came out in 1972. In 1972, at the height of the Giallo craze, director Silvio Amadio helmed 2 entries into the genre in rapid succession, both characterized by their emphasis on sexual decadence and convoluted conspiracy-heavy plotting, which reached their apex with the second film, The Deliciously Degenerate Smile Before Death. So here's another booklet. Just kind of flip through really quick. So we still have a lot to cover, and I don't want to spend too much time on the little things like that. Although the little things are just as important, I don't think I need to flip through every little booklet. But there are the 3 movies for the black box set for the Giallo Essentials from Arrow Video. The Killer Reserved 9 Seats, The Weapon, the Hour, the Motive, and Smile Before Death. The next one up is the Giallo Essentials in the white box. Another beautiful hard outer shell. And these are the 3 movies. The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave. There's a classic image from the VHS days. And you have an advertising card for the Sacred Spirit. Pretty decent amount of bonus materials here. You can watch it in Italian and English with English subtitles if you choose. And it says here at the top, at the height of the Italian Giallo boom of the 1970s, scores of filmmakers turned their hand to crafting their own unique takes on these lurid murder mystery thrillers. This is a good one. I really enjoy The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave. The next one is The Iguana with the Tire of Fire, and that's another thing about these Italian giallo films. They always had excellent titles. The Iguana with the Tongue of Fire. That's pretty awesome. "96 minutes running time. It is also in Italian language or English if you choose. It says it's another one of those animal in the title cash-ins released in the wake of Dario Argento's box office smash The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. The Iguana with the Tongue of Fire's gloriously excessive giallo that boasts an rogues gallery of perverse characters, violent fetished murders, and one of the genre's most nonsensical red herring-laden plots. That's part of the fun of these movies, is you know that there's going to be a red herring or two along the way. You just have to decide. And sometimes they make it obvious, and sometimes it's subtle, and sometimes you can pick it up and say, nah, that's... I try to watch these with an open mind and try to find out who done it. A lot of the times I'm wrong, and that's what's fun about these movies. But I guess it wouldn't be too fun if it was obvious who it was. So, and the third one here is The Suspicious Death of a Minor, Sergio Martino. These are the bonus materials here. This is the final movie for Martino's 6 giallo films. This was his 6th and final. Starring Mel Ferrer. Take a look at the reverse cover, and then we'll jump into the next box. The thing about this box set is I had all of these movies already before they released this box set. So I hope in the future that they just kind of keep these combined or keep these exclusively to the box sets. Okay, so the plastic is off, and this is a beautiful set. I love that kind of that powder blue with that bright yellow. That looks pretty amazing. Very, very nice looking set here. There's the 3 movies. Here's the hard outer shell. Very nice design here. A little bit of info about what's on each disc. First one is Death Walks at Midnight. I already owned all of these movies too before I bought this box set. I think at some point I'm going to go through and maybe do a video of some things I'm looking to get rid of if I have doubles and stuff like that, and I'll offer it to you guys first before I maybe, I don't know, I don't think I'll sell on eBay anymore. I'm just not into that, but I'll probably sell them somewhere. And when I do that, I will record a video and let you guys know what I'm getting rid of. And the next one's called Death Walks on High Heels. I very, very, very rarely sell anything from my collection, but I think it's time to start going through and kind of weeding out some stuff. So there's probably going to be a lot to get rid of. I do have a lot of doubles and stuff like that. So there's the reversible cover. Let me see here. Does it say what year this came out? There's your bonus materials again. Pretty nice amount. And although less celebrated than some of his better-known giallo peers, such as Dario Argento, Mario Bava, and Sergio Martino, late producer turned director Luciano Ercoli contributed 3 hugely entertaining and memorable entries into the genre, including this, his 1971 sophomore effort, Death Walks on High Heels. And he worked with Spanish-born model Nieves Navarro, who was a beautiful redhead, really, really nice looking woman. So that is, both of these are Ercole movies. And so is this third one. This is called The Forbidden Photos of a Lady Above Suspicion. You get all three of Ercole's movies in one box set. 96 minutes running time. You can watch with English or Italian dub. And let's see. Pretty nice amount of bonus materials again. It was written by Ernesto Gastaldi, who did the Torso movie. Has a score by Ennio Morricone. Before the influence of Dario Argento's The Bird with the Crystal Plumage permeated every corner of the giallo genre, another strain of these distinctive Italian thrillers enjoyed considerable success. These melodrammata gialli, heavily inspired by Clouseau's Les Diaboliques, relied less on graphic violence and high body counts, and more on psychological tension. Nice painted cover. And what did they have for an advertising card here? This is O Estrano Mundo. Coffin Joe, I think. It's a Coffin Joe movie. So these are the three Luciano Ercole giallo movies, and they're all in one box set for you to enjoy. This is the blue box, and I do recommend all three of these movies. They're very good. So I'm going to pause it here. We are now done with the Arrow video box sets. We're going to jump into the Vinegar Syndrome stuff next. Jumping in here now to the Forgotten Gialli box sets, volumes 1 through 7, put out by Vinegar Syndrome. I'm really impressed with these box sets. Not only are the movies very rare, obscure, forgotten movies, but Vinegar Syndrome has saved them, revived them, and gave them a whole new life to a whole new generation of viewers. I mean, there's even young kids now that are watching these movies. These are movies I didn't get to see until my adult life. These were never around when I was a kid. And I'm really impressed with the quality about all of these, the box sets, the amount of special features that they have, the restoration of the pictures and all that stuff, the quality of the film. And we're going to go through, and I'm going to maybe go a little bit quicker this time, but I want to make sure that I give it, you know, its fair share. So I want to be able to show you everything about these. I'm just going to go a little bit quicker, but they currently have 7 volumes, and I'm really hoping that they continue to do this. I was very impressed with the Arrow box sets too, but if you put a gun to my head and said I had to pick one out of Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome, and Severin, I would go with Vinegar Syndrome, because just the movies are rare. They're more rare, and they're very good too, but there's just something about these sets that's pretty magical. So I'm going to pause it here, and we're going to jump into volume 1. So the packaging, I think, is also a little bit better on the Vinegar Syndrome stuff. They have these hard outer shells that come with this little removable top. So the top just slides over. It's hard to do it with one hand, so I took it off already. And then so the top just kind of fits right on here. And then there's some beautiful graphics, artwork on the box, some wraparound photos, some blood splatter. It looks like there's a bleeding gash there. It's really beautiful stuff. Very nicely designed packaging. And so the movies here, Police Are Blundering in the Dark. I have shown all these before in videos. I haven't gone through and shown those lately, but I'm going to kind of blaze through this because you probably have seen all these already by now. The movie from 1975. It's about a serial killer who's killing models. That's kind of a common theme in some of these movies, where they're you know, the detectives are chasing a serial killer who's killing beautiful women, or, you know, stuff like that. The killer is one of 13. It's a movie from 1973. They don't have reversible covers, but they don't really need to. I think that's pretty awesome right there. So, I mean, reversible covers are cool, but they're not always necessarily needed. And this is Trauma. This is not the Argento Trauma. This one is from 1978. There was an alternate title for this one, and I can't recall offhand what it was. But there are 3 movies called Trauma, and they were all right around the same, like within a year or 2 of each other. One of them was Argento's Trauma, this one. And I think Argento's Trauma came last, so there was 2 before that, this one and one other one. And I know one of the first 2 had an alternate title. And I believe this is only in Italian or Spanish. It's a Spanish Giallo. It's only in Spanish language. You can't watch it with Italian or English dub, but you can watch it with English subtitles. It is Trauma. So the 3 for volume 1, again, are Police Are Blundering in the Dark, The Killer is 1 of 13, and Trauma. Moving on to volume 2. This is a really good one here. This is a really great box set. And the first one's called Murder Mansion. Really, really good set pieces and eerie atmosphere in this one. It's a great cover too. I love it. The movie came out in 1972. It's in English. I might rewatch this one again soon. On a dark and foggy night in the countryside, a group of apparent strangers all find themselves stranded in an old Gothic mansion. Those are really cool movies. Deciding to spend the night and look for help in the following morning, the group pair off to bed. As the night wears, increasingly strange events begin to occur, culminating in a murder. Whodunit? And you gotta try to follow the breadcrumbs of clues that they give you. This is a good movie for a dark, rainy night. Next one's called Crazy Desires of a Murderer. (1977). You can see that there's some pretty good gore going on in there. The Countess Elenia has just returned to her family's grand old castle, where her paralyzed father, an apparent clairvoyant, and strange younger brother with an unhealthy interest in taxidermy reside. Almost immediately upon arriving, one of Elena's friends, who's visiting the castle, is shockingly murdered and has her eyes plucked out of their sockets. Who did it and why? You'll have to tune in. Great cover, though. Actually, let's see. I kind of like that one better, actually. I like the color of it. I'll probably flip that. I'll do that off camera. And the third in this box set is called Autopsy. (1975). Starring Mimsy Farmer. You may remember that name or recognize that name. A wave of sudden violent suicides have gripped Rome and are being blamed on sunspots. Simona, a young pathologist with an unhealthy obsession with death, has become increasingly interested in this large phenomenon. But the discovery of the body of a young woman, an apparent victim of a self-inflicted gunshot, Simona finds herself thrust into a terrifying mystery and conspiracy to cloak actual murders as suicides. How are we going to figure that one out? This is volume 2. I would definitely recommend any and all of these. These are all very, very good. Volume 3. They do a good job with the package design because the background is kind of a matte finish, kind of a dry matte finish. And then some of the graphics, like the spilled blood, has like a coat of varnish on it to give it a shine, like a gloss. It's really cool. Hope the camera's picking that up. It's little things like that that really impress me. And the first one here is called Girl in Room 2A. 1974. Here's your bonus features here on the right. You can watch it in English or Italian. After being released from prison, a young woman named Margaret goes to stay at a halfway house for female ex-cons run by the kindly Mrs. Grant. It's not long before Margaret begins experiencing strange happenings in the old house, such as a recurring red stain on the floor and worse. She begins to be plagued by visions of young women being tortured and murdered by a mysterious figure in a red hood. But things take an even more unsettling turn when she befriends Charlie, who is searching for his sister, who has disappeared after staying in Mrs. Grant's house. (1974). I think I mentioned that already. The Girl in Room 2A. Now, the French sex murders. Anita Ekberg, Barbara Boucher. Beautiful women. 1972. Following the brutal death of a prostitute at the exclusive Parisian brothel, grizzled Inspector Fontaine is brought in to investigate. After implicating Antoine, a petty thief and regular client of the murdered woman, Fontaine believes the case to be closed. However, Antoine makes a daring attempt to escape custody, only to get decapitated in the process, after which his eyes are given over to a strange Professor Valdemar for study. But soon after, he's affiliated with implicating him to begin to meet their own violent ends. Has Antoine's vengeful spirit returned to kill those he believes responsible for his own gruesome fate? Or has another, more sinister character been behind these diabolical murders from the very beginning? That was kind of a tough read. It seemed like it wasn't written very well. This one came out in 1972. There's the very low buck decapitation. That definitely looks like a paper mache head like you would get at a Dollar Tree. Fill it with candy and hit it with a stick as a piñata. And the last one for this volume, volume 2, is My Dear Killer, starring the great George Hilton, who was in many of these Italian genre movies, spaghetti westerns, giallos, horror movies. Another movie from 1972. After a man is decapitated by an excavator at a rural construction site, Inspector Luca Peretti is assigned to the case. Hey, Luca Peretti, I'm solving a crime over here. Oh, boy. But what initially seems to be an isolated killing soon paves the way for an ever-growing number of vicious murders. There's a reversible cover. So I think I said volume 2. We're on volume 3 now. This is volume 3. This is going a little bit longer than I wanted it to go. I'm starting to get kind of tired. But here are the 3 movies from volume 3. You get Girl in Room 2A, The French Sex Murders, and My Dear Killer. I just realized I made a big error in this video, and maybe some of you caught it already, but I had the last 2 box sets out of order. So actually when I was saying box 3 or volume 3, it was actually 2. I had 2 and 3 mixed up. So please forgive me on that, but we're moving on here to volume 4. Arabella, the Black Angel, the sister of Ursula, and the killer is still among us. This hard outer shell. First movie's called The Sister of Ursula from 1978. You can see the discard, and it just has kind of a design and a screaming character in the background. Next one is called The Killer is Still Among Us from 1986. This is a very much of a modern giallo, because you really didn't think of giallos in the late 80s. It was more of a 60s and 70s thing, but Christina is a college student who is studying criminology after becoming intrigued by a vicious murder and mutilation of a young couple on a secluded lover's lane. Christiana begins her own investigation into the slayings. As she gathers clues that she hopes might lead to the killer's identity, she begins to find strange parallels between her unassuming boyfriend and when the killer strikes again. Christina becomes increasingly afraid that she is, in fact, living with a depraved sex killer. And the last one is called Arabella, Black Angel, 1989. Beautiful Arabella is an insatiable nymphomaniac with a crippled writer husband, Francesco, who is unable to please her. Instead, Arabella searches for lovers in illicit dens of debauchery, betting an endless array of men. However, when her husband discovers her having sex with a stranger in their shed, Arabella panics and kills the man, only to discover that her sudden act of violence arouses creative inspiration in her Francesco. Covering up the crime, Francesco asks his wife to further explore her sexual fantasies and report back on her experiences. Unfortunately, Arabella's lovers are subsequently visited by someone else, a vengeful murderer who violently castrates them. So that is volume 4, Sister of Ursula, The Killer is Still Among Us, and Arabella. Volume 5, very, very nice design for the packaging. I love that spider web with the eyeball in the middle. It's really cool. First one is 9 Guests for a Crime, 1977. 9 members of an extremely rich and hateful family have decided to have a month-long reunion on a remote island in the Mediterranean. No sooner than their arrival, old grudges, resentments, and feuds make themselves known, along with allusions to some more macabre events in the past. But when their boats are torched, thus stranding them without any connection to the mainland, it becomes clear that someone is not willing to let old wounds heal, a fact made all the more clear as bodies start to pile up. White Dress for Mariali. There's that spider web again. 1972. When Mariali was a little girl, she witnessed her father murder her mother along with an adulterous lover before killing himself. Years later, Mariali has invited a group of friends over for a party at an isolated villa. As the festivities progress, an increased sense of debauchery and hedonism befalls the group, only for their perverse fun and games to be disrupted by the arrival of a mysterious killer who begins dispatching the revelers in nasty fashion, all to cover up a secret buried deep in the past. And the third one, I haven't seen this one yet. This is called Tropic of Cancer. 1972. Fred and Grace Wright are vacationing in Haiti in the hope of repairing their failing marriage when they run into an old friend, Dr. Williams. Excited to share the news of the latest work, Williams explains that he has developed a powerful aphrodisiac which doubles as a hallucinogen. Intrigued by their friend's discovery, the couple quickly find themselves embroiled in a high-stakes plot to steal the drug. All the while, a mysterious killer or killers begins viciously doing away with anyone who gets too close to uncovering the truth about the formula. They're calling it one of the strangest Gialli, both in terms of setting and storyline. It sounds pretty weird, but I shouldn't judge it until I watch it, and I'm sure I'll find something I like about it. I always do. So these are the three for Volume 5. 9 Guests for a Crime, White Dress for Mariali, and Tropic of Cancer. Volume 6. I love this color scheme here with the greens, purples, blacks. It looks really good. First one is called Naked, You Die. This one came out in 1968. Got a bunch of bonus materials here on the right-hand column. Following the arrival of a mysterious trunk to an all-girls boarding school, a series of strange disappearances and murders begins to plague the institution. To appease the panic-stricken students and staff, Inspector Durand begins searching the school grounds in a bid to unmask the culprit. However, student and amateur sleuth Jill decides to solve the mystery on her own, unwittingly putting herself into the sights of a bloodthirsty killer. Some late 60s goodness here. Naked, You Die. Next one's called The Bloodstained Shadow. 1978. In the 1950s, the body of a teenage girl was found strangled near a small village. Decades later, with the murder remaining unsolved, a young man named Stefano, who grew up in the area, returns home to visit his older brother Paolo, who has become the local priest. Shortly after his arrival, more mysterious murders begin to plague the community, with the victims being members of a strange local sect. But when Paolo begins receiving menacing warnings from an unknown source, Stefano, with the help of his girlfriend Sandra, begins looking into the seemingly ordinary town's sinister past. Solamente Nero. And the last one is Death Carries a Cane. That's a great cover. Another trademark in the Giallo, Italian Giallo films are the black leather gloves. And they do that for a couple reasons, but the main reason is so you can't, I guess it's so you can't tell if it's a man or a woman doing the killings. Because there are a lot of red herrings where the killer ends up being a woman that you would never expect. And if they showed her hand holding a knife to somebody and you saw the long painted fingernails, it would kind of give it away. But It's also for effect, too. They kind of keep the killer shadowy and black, so you can't really describe his features and stuff like that, or her features. So this one came out in 1973. While enjoying an otherwise leisurely day, Kitty, a professional photographer, happens to witness the murder of a nude woman via a sightseeing telescope. While she's unable to make out the black trench coat-wearing killer's face, it's not long before this mystery assailant begins stalking and gorily bumping off all potential witnesses to this crime, fearing she might be next. You have to tune in and find out what she does when the killer is hot on her heels. There's the black-gloved killer. They use a lot of different blades too. A lot of these slasher movies are razor blades, you know, stiletto knives, straight razors, stuff like that. Straight razor like that. It makes it a little more creepy because it's a stealth killer, and obviously if somebody shot a gun, you'd hear it. It would alarm people to call somebody, but if you strangle somebody or slash them in these movies, it's more effective, I think. But so for volume 5, you get Naked You Die, The Bloodstained Shadow, and Death Carries a Cane. This is a really, really good set right here. And the last one, I think I said, I'm screwing up the numbers. I think I said 5, but that was volume 6. But you guys get the gist of it. This is the last one. This is volume 7. That's another great cover. This one's fairly new to my collection. I got it maybe a month or 2 ago. Whenever it came out, I got it. Like last month or 2 months ago. But this is another beautifully designed package here. I really love the way it looks. Let's see if we can... Looks like Benjamin Orr from the Cars. It's all I can do to keep waiting for you. It's all I can do. It's all I can do. Love the Cars, man. Cars are great. All right. First one here is called Sweets from a Stranger. I haven't seen any of these yet. I don't think I did. No, I haven't seen any of these yet. This one came out in 1987. A bicycle-riding, razor-wielding killer is stalking and slashing Rome's ladies of the night. What an amazing first line. Let me read that again and take this in. A bicycle-riding, razor-wielding killer is stalking and slashing Rome's ladies of the night. I'm in, man. Let's go pop this in and watch it. Stella, who has risen above the level of streetwalker and now works as a high-class escort, is shocked when she learns that a dear friend has become the maniac's latest victim. Disgusted by the failure of the police to either find the killer or even protect the women, she hatches her own plan to help fellow prostitutes organize and learn self-defense in hopes that their own actions will lead to the culprit's unmasking. So she must be the leader of the hoes. The leader of the hoes. Leader hosen. All right, 1987. I haven't seen it yet. It sounds pretty good, though. The next one is Obsession, A Taste for Fear. 1987. Let me get some bonus materials here. Set in a semi-futuristic, technology-infused world, Diane is a top photographer for erotic and fashion magazines whose sexually liberated lifestyle carries over to her work. However, when Diane's newest model, the Tegan, I don't know how to pronounce that word, is found murdered on set, suspicion falls not only on Diane, but the entire production crew. These are getting harder to read. Haven't seen it yet, but I plan to check it out at some point, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I got too much going on before that can go in. So the next one's called Mystery. This one's from 1983. And it says Mystery is one of Rome's top call girls, and you get it. It's a lot of these themes are very, very similar. You know, they're picking off call girls or models, or just that's just a lot of the themes in these movies. And so this is the last one. This is volume 7. You get Sweets from a Stranger, Obsession, A Taste for Fear and Mystery. So I would be interested in hearing your thoughts. If you want to leave a comment below, which franchise do you like better, or which series? The Arrow Giallo Essentials, the Vinegar Syndrome Forgotten Gialli, or we're going to go through this now, and I guess we'll call this the Danza Macabra by Severin. So far there's 3 different box sets out. I'm going to pause it and go through these, and then we'll wrap the video up. Okay, volume 1, the Italian Gothic collection. That is a gorgeous cover. Very, very cool. Again, it's a nice hard outer shell. 4-movie set includes The Monster of the Opera, The Seventh Grave, Scream of the Demon Lover, and Lady Frankenstein. There's a Severin logo. You got some write-ups here on the back. Uncut, uncensored, unsettling. I think most of these are in Italian language only, if I remember. And the first one here is called The Monster of the Opera. Beautiful cover. (1964), black and white. Some bonus materials here. It's a worldwide Blu-ray premiere. Insanity reigns here. It's gothic, sinister, erotic, and crazy. Those willing to cross genre boundaries will be richly rewarded. These don't have reverse, but there's the disc art. Next one is Lady Frankenstein, another beautiful cover. I really need to start adding more Severin to my collection. I do have quite a few, but it's been, I would say, a couple years since I purchased anything from them, or very, very few things from them. This one was co-produced by the great late Roger Corman. Pure drive-in bliss, fun gothic horror with kinky sequences that predate the depraved antics of Flesh for Frankenstein. This one came out in 1970. There's your bonus materials there. Now, technically, these are not Giallo, but they are Euro Gothic horror, and I kind of lump them together. Although technically these are not considered Giallo, they're very, very similar. The Euro horror is very good. This one's called The Seventh Grave, 1965. I thought that was Barbara Steele. Kind of looks like her. But I don't see her listed on the back. Be interested to hear if any of you have seen any of these, or if you plan to pick these up. And the last one for the first box is called Scream of the Demon Lover. What a title. 1970. Kinkiness and violent depravity ensue. It's an Italian-Spanish co-production, which is the best of both worlds, I agree, for Euro horror. And don't sleep on the British. The British have some of the best Gothic horror out there. But I agree, the Italians and the Spanish and the British are all excellent when it comes to building an atmosphere for the movie. I think that's very important. to where if it's in a haunted house, that house becomes kind of a character in the movie. The atmosphere becomes part of a character in the movie. It's all very important, and it works. So that was the first box set. We have 2 more to go, and then we're going to wrap this up. I'd be curious to hear what's your favorite. Did you like Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome, or Severin better? Do you have any? Would you like to buy some? So there again, for Volume 4, the Italian Gothic Collection, Monster of the Opera, Lady Frankenstein, The Seventh Grave, Scream of a Demon Lover. The next set is called Danza Macabra, Volume 2, the Italian Gothic Collection. Another beautiful designed package. Really love it. Looks great. There's the movie listings, 8-disc set. And so I wanted to give a shout out before I finish these 2 box sets to anybody who has joined me at Patreon. I appreciate that. I got quite a few people who joined up, and I really look forward to interacting with you over there. I want to give a special shout out to Daniel and Greg for hitting the tip jar. You didn't have to do that, but I really appreciate that. Thank you for that. Anybody is welcome. I will leave a link down below, and you can go check that link out. After this video, this is going to go up on YouTube. This video here that I'm recording now that you're watching, obviously it's on YouTube. You're already watching it here. But the next video that I upload will be in about 3 weeks or so, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. That's going to be a brand new update video, and that's only going to be on Patreon. So just giving you guys a heads up. So you might want to check that link down below, go join up, and you can watch the update video. So we will continue here with Gothic Collection, Italian Gothic Collection Volume 2. And the first one here is called Jekyll. Black and white from 1969. It's in Italian with English subtitles. A thought-provoking work. Albertazzi took Gothic imagery and reinvented Stevenson's fable. It was unlike anything that had ever been seen on television. The North American premiere of the landmark Rai TV miniseries. "262 minutes running time." So there's disc 1 and disc 2. So this is an Italian Gothic mini-series from 1969. And the next one is called The Devil's Lover, 1972. It's also in Italian with English subtitles, 78 minutes running time. You get a bonus disc. It's the CD soundtrack for the film. A winner in style. There's fun to be had for fans of satanic Euro horror and Italian goodness. The North American high definition premiere plus the bonus soundtrack CD. And there's the compact disc with the movie, with the music, and then there's the Blu-ray. And here's the track listing for the CD. You get 12 cuts. That's really good. There's some poster art with the Italian title. The next one's called They Have Changed Their Face. 1971. It is in Italian with English subtitles. You get the top little box up here is the bonus materials. And then you also do get short films by Corrado Farina. And what else? You get documentaries, commercials. It says Extraordinary, a unique interpretation of the classic story by Bram Stoker that seems more topical today than ever. The North American high definition premiere with 6+ hours of bonus materials. 1971. I love these box sets too. And the third one is called Castle of Blood. This one's in 4K, starring Barbara Steele. There's Barbara Steele there. And am I wrong? I don't see her name on the back. Okay, so I think, oh, it is, yeah, Barbara Steele's in here. I knew that was Barbara Steele. A definitive Italian Gothic, a marvelously atmospheric thriller, and one of the best Italian horror films of the decade from when did this come out? 1964. Looks like there's 2 movies on here. It looks like you get Castle of Blood from 1964 and Danza Macabra from 1964. I don't know if that's the same movie just with the Italian title. Let's read on here. Disc 1, Castle of Blood, Danza Macabra, 4K. Disc 2 has Danza Macabra Blu-ray, and Disc 3 has Castle of Blood Blu-ray. Sergio Corbucci. This looks like Sergio Corbucci started the movie, and it was completed by Antonio Margheriti. It says now both versions, the Italian Danza Macabra and the U.S. release Castle of Blood. So it's the same movie. There's some subtle differences, but it's basically the same movie. So it's a 3-disc set. You get the 4K and 2 Blu-rays. So that will do it for Danza Macabra Volume 2, the Italian Gothic collection. You get Jekyll, which is a mini-series, The Devil's Lover, They Have Changed to Their Face, and Castle of Blood. And the final box set for the Severin series, and the final box set in this video, is called Danza Macabra Volume 3, the Spanish Gothic Collection. There's a great image there on the front, very beautifully designed. There are the movie listings. 4 restored classics, 8+ hours of special features. So the first one is called Necrophagus. What a cover that is. I haven't seen any of these yet. This is a movie from 1971. You can watch it in English or Spanish language. An obscure delight with a genuine scares. It's a worldwide Blu-ray premiere, now restored and uncut, and here are the bonus features. Next one's called Cake of Blood. (1971) in Spanish language with English subtitles. It is the worldwide Blu-ray premiere, uncut, interesting and very original. Each of the 4 stories could have become a full horror movie. I haven't seen this yet, but I just now learned that it's a anthology. The third one is called Cross of the Devil. Man, these covers are beautiful. Really, really beautiful. 1974. Bonus materials here. It says a link between Hammer horror and its more lurid continental cousins. The first ever English-friendly home video release. So it's in Spanish language with English subtitles. 97 minutes runtime. And the last one is called The Night of the Walking Dead, 1975. A remarkable accomplishment, romantic, adventurous, and Fellini-esque, with an impressive and poignant exploration of vampire immortality. Elegant and sophisticated. It's the worldwide Blu-ray premiere, restored and uncut. So these are the 4 movies you get in the Danza Macabra, Volume 3, the Spanish collection. You get Necrophagus, Cake of Blood, Cross of the Devil, and The Night of the Walking Dead. Hope you enjoyed this little deep dive into these box sets. I really love these movies, and I like to make these videos to give you guys some ideas of what's out there, what you can expect from these box sets. I'm sure many of you own these already, and I'm sure some of you have never even heard of these. So maybe I was able to give you some info and piqued your interest, if you will, I guess. Again, don't forget to check out the Patreon link down below. The next video that I upload will be a Patreon video, and that's going to be a new update video of all the things that I pick up over the next 3 or 4 weeks. So that will be on Patreon. I hope to see you there. And thank you to all who have joined already. I look forward to interacting with you guys over there. And who knows, maybe this video will end up on Patreon. If YouTube doesn't allow me to upload this one, it'll go on Patreon. So, okay, take care. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye.